In the next 6 months, you could have a bigger, thicker penis. And I'm not talking about pills or surgery or some gimmick you saw on an adult site at 2 in the morning. I'm talking about scientifically proven, peer-reviewed methods that have been demonstrated in actual clinical trials to produce real, measurable, permanent growth. But I'm also going to tell you about the methods that can permanently destroy your penis. Because the gap between what works and what ruins you is enormous. And the scary part? The vast majority of guys have absolutely no idea which side they're on. And before we get into it, I've put together a free detailed guide on this exact topic. It covers everything we're about to discuss and more. Links in the description below. Go grab that. So here's what the science actually says. There are published studies, randomized trials, showing that men can gain roughly ½ an inch in length and ¼ inch in girth over 6 months to a year with consistent, safe methods. That's not a sales pitch, that's data, with photo documentation. But here's the catch. It takes time. Roughly an hour to 2 hours a day of consistent work. And if those gains don't sound worth that level of commitment, this probably isn't for you. And that's fine, but what's not fine is taking shortcuts. Because the shortcuts in this space can end your sex life permanently. Let's start with surgery, specifically suspensory ligament surgery. There's a nerve, an artery, and a vein running through that ligament. Cut it and you risk permanent nerve damage. You might not feel anything. You might not get hard. And here's what nobody tells you, that surgery has only been shown to increase the appearance of a larger flaccid penis. It does nothing for erect length, nothing. And because you've cut the ligament that stabilizes your penis, you're now at higher risk of penile fracture during sex. So you're trading a functional penis for one that hangs lower in the locker room, but could snap during the one moment it actually matters. Now, if you think you can bypass the scalpel with injections, think again. Let's look at fillers. Fat grafting has published case reports of men dying from fat embolisms. The fat enters the bloodstream, reaches the heart, stops it. Same mechanism that kills women in botched BBL surgeries. Hyaluronic acid is safer, but it's temporary. Your body breaks it down. You keep going back. It only affects girth, not length. And if the distribution goes wrong, and it often does, you end up with lumps, uneven shape, or what one doctor I spoke with calls shoulder pad penis, where the shaft is wide, but the head stays the same size. Not exactly the result anyone signed up for. But even if you avoid the clinic entirely, there are injuries nobody warns you about. Ever heard of hard flaccid syndrome? Your penis gets stuck in this small, retracted, semi-rigid state. Combination of pelvic floor damage and potential nerve damage. It can happen from aggressive enlargement techniques, but also from rough sex or even aggressive masturbation. It is treatable, but a lot of doctors don't even know what it is. They'll hand you Viagra and send you home. Which is why knowing what you're doing before you start matters more than anything. So what actually produces those gains I mentioned at the start? 2 things with real evidence behind them: pumps and extenders. Both work on the same principle. Putting penile tissue under gradual traction and pressure over time causes cellular level changes that create real, permanent growth, both length and girth. Pumps have the added benefit of improving erection quality by drawing healthy blood flow into the tissue. Extenders apply steady traction that encourages lengthening over months of consistent use. Neither is a quick fix, but 6 months of disciplined, consistent use, that's where the results in those studies came from. And they don't carry the risk of nerve damage, embolisms, or disfigurement. And I'm not going to leave you guessing on the how. In that free guide I mentioned at the beginning, I've laid out everything. Which pumps and extenders to actually get. How to use them properly and safely. How often. How long each session should be. The full protocol from day 1, so you're not piecing together random advice from the internet and hurting yourself in the process. Links in the description. That guide is your starting point if you're serious about doing this right. Look, whether you use a pump, an extender, or do nothing at all today, none of this works if your plumbing isn't functioning. Blood flow is the absolute foundation. If you aren't getting nutrient-rich blood into that tissue, it cannot grow, period. That's why I've linked 2 formulations in the description that support exactly that. The first is a pure organic watermelon extract made in the USA, naturally rich in citrulline, which fuels nitric oxide production and drives blood flow to where it needs to go. The second is an advanced erection support formula, Icarin, Tongkat Ali, Maca, Citrulline, and nettle root. 5 ingredients that support blood flow, hormonal health, and sustained firmness from the inside out. Both links in the description. No miracle claims, just real ingredients backing up the work you're putting in. 6 months. Real methods, real gains. Do this safely. Do it with real information. And stop gambling with the one thing you can't replace. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.